Okay, hi, I'm Nikki Hamilton and this is Caitlin Pinder, and we're both physiotherapists and yoga teachers, and what we'd like to share today with you is just a few exercises to help you with yoga butt. So yoga butt, as some of you may know from previous videos, is an irritation of the hamstring tendon where it inserts right on the sitting bone. So normally if you have pain from the hamstring tendon, it'll be present when you're sitting on a hard surface. It might hurt after yoga, and it's usually related to that tendon where it inserts being a little bit weaker than it should be. So if you can imagine a tendon that's designed to be a really thick, strong rope, if that rope is showing signs of a little bit of fraying or a little bit of weakness, if you stretch that rope over your sitting bone, or a bit like when you stretch a rope over a rock, where it rubs can become a point of irritation. So stretching definitely doesn't help this problem. What does need to happen is a graduated strength program in order to stitch some new fibres into the tendon and make the tendon healthy and strong again. So for yoga butt, the first scenario, or the first thing you need to know is A, stretches don't really help. B, that a strengthening program is what you need, and that's what Caitlin and I will take you through. The last really important piece of information to share is that you actually need a really accurate diagnosis, because there's lots of different reasons for buttock pain, including problems from the lumbar spine, problems from the sacroiliac joint, piriformis pain. So lots of reasons that you can get buttock pain with sitting. So make sure you see a physiotherapist to get an accurate diagnosis, I think is the most important thing. But if you've been diagnosed with what we call hamstring tendinopathy, here are a couple of little tips. So the first strengthening exercise that you can start, and this is just a really easy one that you can do anywhere, is to come up to a chair or the back of a couch and then press your heel toward your bottom, which activates the hamstring tendon, and you're going to hold it for about 10 seconds and see if you can gradually work to longer holds. This is called an isometric activation of the hamstring, and what this does, it can help you settle your pain. It activates the tendon and the muscle, which can start to support tendon health. So an isometric contraction, you can do this 3 or 4 times a day if you want to, just bringing your heel to your bottom, holding for about 10 seconds, seeing if you can do 5 reps. So that's an easy beginner level exercise. From there you can lie onto your back. The next series of exercises on your back is some bridging exercises. So you'll start with an even bridge. You'll have your feet hip width apart and comfortable and even. You'll try and bring your heels towards your bottom a little bit. You won't actually move anywhere, but just bringing your heels towards your bottom and then lifting your hips up toward the ceiling and then lowering down. The activation of pulling your heels towards your bottom first helps to activate the hamstring muscles. So if you start with just an even set of 2 sets of 10 repetitions is a good starting place, and doing that once or twice a day. Now that's fairly low level, and to build tendon strength, we actually need to progress to harder exercises. So the next exercise that you could progress to is what we call a split bridge, where you extend your good leg sort of away a little bit, and then you'll put more pressure through your weak side to lift and lower. Try and make sure that your hips stay square so your pelvis doesn't twist. Don't lift so high that you get back pain, but your activation is going to be pull the heel toward the bottom to activate your hamstring and then lift and lower. So you've got a bit more weight on your affected side to help build on tendon strength. From there we can progress to a higher load, which means taking the hamstring into a little bit more of a stretch position. The way we do that is simply to stick your heels up on either a block to start with, and eventually over time you can progress to something higher like a chair. But you'll start again even, because you've progressed the load. So we'll start with legs even, bring your heels towards your bottom, hold that pull and then lift and lower. And then if you want to progress that, you can take it into a split, which means you extend your good leg away a little bit, keep that leg a bit light, and you'll be putting more pressure through your weaker side. So that's a progression of bridging exercises that can help build on hamstring tendon strength. The next lot of exercises you can do are just on your tummy. And you'll need to grab a TheraBand, usually from a physiotherapist, and it needs to be a fairly heavy resistance band if you can. You'll tie it around your foot or your ankle, and then you'll be on the floor, and you'll tie it to a nearby table leg so it's secure. And from there, you'll simply bring your heel toward your bottom nice and slow, and then slowly lower down. So you work at what we call hamstring curl, heavy, slow resistance repetitions. So you need a fairly strong band, and you can work at starting at 2 lots of 10, working up to 2 lots of 15, and gradually building on your repetitions there. So there are 3 different hamstring exercises that can help you manage yoga butt. Now the important thing is to get the guidance from a physiotherapist in how quickly to progress this, because the important thing to understand ultimately with hamstring tendons and with any tendon is in actual fact their repair process is actually pretty slow. So every tissue in your body heals at a different rate. You know, you cut your skin and it's over in 2 or 3 days, it heals itself. Bones are slower when they're damaged, tendons are even slower again. So you want to try and make sure that you build on your strength, but in a really slow, progressive way, and that's best guided by a physiotherapist. But I hope those few exercises help you figure out how to cure and overcome your yoga butt.